Hi, this is Allison Gomez. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist in California. This disclaimer, this is not to be a replacement for individual therapy or group therapy or any type of therapy. This is me chatting, asking questions, giving some information, and if you want to use that information to go look for your own therapist or work with me, you can hit the information down below in the captions and schedule your free consultation if you're in California. But I'm excited. Today, we are going to be talking a little bit more about Encanto. So I know in the first one, we were talking about Luisa and that pressure, the surface pressure song, which a lot of people resonated with. Today, we are going to be talking about Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno. And so I know there are so many people who have like a lot of different takes on this. So mine is just one of many takes. As a therapist, I really enjoyed watching that interaction with Bruno. And the first thing that kind of like popped in my head was, everybody has a Bruno in their family. What is the thing that we're not talking about? Because in Encanto, you know, Bruno brings up these really difficult truths of, I guess, like the fragility of the house and just the dark stuff that's going on in the community, like death. I guess like gaining weight isn't that dark. That's like fat phobia or whatever, or, losing your hair. But he brings a lot of really uncomfortable truths that people just do not want to hear. And the result is he feels the need that he needs to go, and we just don't talk about it. We do not talk about it. And I was thinking, like, what are things that people don't talk about? What are things that we don't even talk about with ourselves? Because there are topics that we don't even want to go with ourselves. And I'm not talking about like memories that we can't recall and we want to recall. I'm talking about things that maybe bring up shame, guilt, embarrassment, those type, like anger, fear. A lot of those really uncomfortable feelings, we'll just shove those things down. So what is it that we're not talking about right here? And how is it impacting you right now? And it's not even like just you as the individual. It's like literally everything and everyone. What's not being talked about in my family? Is it like specific family members? Is it a situation that happened that we don't speak of it anymore? Like, that's past, we got over it. Like, what's past is past. Is it something at work? Does something happen at work? Is there things that we're not allowed to say? Or is it like in society? And one of the things that really pops up in my mind is we don't talk about like systemic racism. We don't talk about oppression because, we keep that down. That thing doesn't happen because we're colorblind, but everyone has a Bruno that we're not talking about. There's something that we're not addressing. And as a result, it has this really negative impact. Like if we were talking about, systemic oppression, the negative impact is we're literally oppressing people and it's costing people's lives in so many different ways. If it's like amongst like your colleagues, it could be maybe someone's getting abused. So like, I remember when I was in grad school, there were people who were treated very poorly, but we just don't talk about it. We don't address it. We don't confront it. We don't work through it, which doesn't make sense because it's a therapy program, right? Or, or maybe somebody's doing problematic things, but we don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. And so these problematic things keeps continuing. Or the same thing, like if there's an issue that's going on within us, but we're refusing to look at it, how does it keep showing up in your life? And what does it actually do for you? Like, is it adding to your life or is it creating more stress? Because whenever I see people, like at the therapist personally, just in general, when people are shoving things down, it kind of gets messy. I think Frozen, conceal, don't feel. We don't talk about the fact that Elsa has these powers, and what happens? She eventually breaks and like freezes everything, and it causes this bigger mess compared to like, what if we just dealt with the thing in the first place? Like if we learn how to work through like, it's scary that my kid has magical powers and I don't know what to do. Maybe she wouldn't have been in the same place. Who knows? And also the thing about it is we're going to maintain the status quo. That is part of why we don't talk about Bruno is if we were to talk about the thing, then we would have to make changes. And even if they're changes you want to make, we don't like change. Change is really uncomfortable because even if we know what this is, we don't know what that is. And that's just scary. So like in Encanto, like, he looks at this map and or not the map, looks at this vision and see that the house is going to break. And he feels the need that he has to hide because that's a really big, uncomfortable truth. They have a lot of trauma and this is the thing that helps keep them safe. So to take away the thing that makes them safe is going to cause a lot of upset. So let's just not do that and keep the peace as long as possible, even though it was going to hurt the house in the run. And that's not me blaming Bruno or whatever. That's like that's like a big responsibility for him to like bear. But I'm just talking about like in terms of how this all works. So what do you think? What's the Bruno in your life? You don't necessarily have to comment that because obviously that's like super personal. I mean, if you want, go for it. But I guess like for you, like give yourself permission. What's the thing that's not being talked about in my life? What's this with myself, with other people, with friends, with family? And is it helping me by not talking about that, or is it causing me more stress and pain? Well, and that is all for today. Thank you.